Let's talk about therapy. I've been using BetterHelp for the last 3-ish months, and to make it more accessible and affordable for people, I think is pretty necessary. I have loved how easy it is to schedule. I mentioned at the beginning of this vlog that I went through 3 therapists until I found one that really stuck and clicked for me. And I think that's normal. Therapists are people. We are people. We have to communicate in a way that we get.
Right now I'm like stressed out and I don't know what's going on.
The investigators give Russell a drink and allow him to go out and have a cigarette. Both things are done to further put him at ease and to gain favor with him. Sometimes it's used as a carrot to get someone to confess, and they will tell the person that they can smoke after they tell them what happened, etc. People being interrogated are sometimes not yet under arrest, so they can leave if they want to, and they certainly cannot be forced to speak. The police try to make them feel less inclined to want to leave by giving them food and drinks and cigarette breaks, and so as not to violate any due process rights. Russell proceeds to tell investigators everything they need to know.
You can sit in that chair over there. Okay. And we'll bring your food in. I've got the... Oh, okay. Let me have your pop bottle. Yeah. All right. Ooh, Frank came with it. That's soft.
As has been the case with Russell so far, we have few words to explain what exactly it is that happens next.
It's actually nicer than the hospital ones. Hospital ones are kind of mean.
Over the next few minutes, Russell continues to narrate his experience eating McDonald's French fries, but he also behaves in ways which we really don't know how to describe.
You know what would go good with these? These are flirty. No.
Part of the Reed interrogation technique discussed earlier involves isolation, or letting suspects sit on their own without much stimulation or social interaction. The goal is to increase suspects' feelings of panic or wanting to escape. It seems that Russell responds differently to attempts at isolation than most others. Between his dramatic displays of odd behavior, he begins to leak disturbing information critical to the case. We begin to receive small doses of the terrifying truth.
It wasn't really self-defense so much as it was defending her. It was, you're listening in on my conversations, aren't you? Camera off. Yeah. I don't care if you're fed or not. I can still twist your little mind. Don't piss me off.
Nothing appears to register for Russell in terms of the gravity of his situation. He's unashamedly confrontational with law enforcement when they're out of sight. He holds delusions of grandeur specifically related to power. These types of delusions often form when individuals have been in abusive situations in which they were powerless.
And I think that's really why he went to go help, well, what he thought was helping these people that he got wrapped up in.
I mean, literally, for his 21st birthday, he had never had a party. I made him a cake. We had a little party at my daughter's house. He ran around with the kids, so even though he's 21, he was playing with 10-year-old, and having a great time. I let him to be a little kid because he told me he never got to be a little kid. For kids that are high functioning, they're, very giving, loving. They just want acceptance.
Two cops were nice. Very nice guy. He was actually pretty good too. Very understanding. Actually bought me food last time. And this time. Maybe I should talk to him more often.
Because Russell continues to talk and is making useful and incriminating statements, the investigator will likely let him sit in the room alone, talking for as long as he continues to do so.
No, I ain't no rat.
Russell had numerous encounters with law enforcement leading up to this moment. There are several charges on his record preceding this crime, including sodomy and abuse in the 3rd degree.
I wonder if I can be an undercover agent. Ooh, I had a really long one. I understand, sir.
Hey.
There's evidently
cheers.
no one in the room with Russell, so he's either
Welcome.
vocalizing an imagined dialogue or hearing someone who's not there. If the latter is true, this could be an auditory hallucination, meaning that Russell is hearing something non-existent. This, coupled with his delusions, would strongly indicate that he is in a state of psychosis. Individuals commonly reference the word psychotic when they see others acting in an aggressive, unusual, unstable, or other abnormal manner. But the technical definition involves issues with reality testing, distinguishing between what is objectively real and what is objectively not real. Behavioral manifestations may include delusions or hallucinations, and we know that, at a minimum, Russell experiences delusions. We'll later see that Russell previously commented that he suffers from bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder creates abnormal swings from neutral mood states to periods of abnormally high energy and/or irritability or mania, to periods of abnormally low energy and/or sadness or depression. This mental illness, affecting nearly 2.6% of the United States population, is the country's 6th leading cause of disability, and it tracks that Russell is on that list. Up to this point, we've witnessed particularly strange behavior, but none so strange as what follows.
You do know I know you're listening, right? So listen here. Ellie Fryer is my client, my protectee. I would like to see her. Asking. Being polite. I know you're looking directly at me, aren't you? The information I gave is not worth $6. It's worth a lot, more.
Russell behaves as though he's a supervillain. He's so removed from the reality of the situation that it may prove difficult to imagine the events that occurred earlier that day. When he accidentally turns off the recording device, he seems surprised that he can do so and begins playing with it. The gravity of the situation he's in is clouded, but we don't yet know by what. He's visibly happy with this new sense of control he feels by being able to turn the recording device on and off.
Red means you can't hear me. Green, you can. Gavin and Ellie are to be released to me because the assault her father did the morning of the incident, defending a female. Now here's the thing. I know the cops' twisted little pathetic rule game. And actually, sometimes I like to think that I invented the rule book. I'm not exactly bragging, but I use reverse psychology, which makes me be able to...
Russell steeples his hands, which is a gesture to indicate superiority over those you're speaking to.
make you think it's not Gavin, but in fact your own kid, by reverse psychology, making you look like the lunatic. We can play it the easy way or the hard way. I'm talking nice. You got two choices. One, put a bullet through my head, or two, for all the evidence that I gave you guys, right there on a silver platter, right there, down to the last detail. Not one thing missing. A whole list, step by step by step. Even a third grader could read how easy that was. For one, Ellie is still technically a minor.
Russell is speaking to the officers in a condescending tone and looking at a non-existent watch. He's under the delusion that because he has confessed every detail of the crime step by step, they owe him something now.
You want to play hardball? I played baseball when I was younger. Huh? I wouldn't go there. And I know everything that I'm saying is being recorded, and I'm doing it on purpose. I can easily turn the speaker off and rant, and then you guys will come in thinking I'm a loony because you don't hear me. Here's the thing. I'm not the one with the donut fetish. Give a cop a donut, and he'll want a coffee to go with it. Give a mouse a cookie, and he'll want a glass of milk. Give a moose a muffin, and he'll want something else. But here's my favorite one. What is it when a cop car is towed by a tow truck? Pulled pork.
When the officers don't respond to his threats, Russell begins making police jokes and using police stereotypes. He continues on his narcissistic rant and delusions of having control and dominance in this situation.
So, we can either tell pig jokes all day, or we can have a little chat. I'm very, good at convincing people, and I don't even use hypnosis.
This guy is something else. You really think he's the main character? Oh my god. But let's carry on.
I think I just said yeah.
Again, Russell speaks to someone who is not there. This is either a hallucination or vocalized internal dialogue.
So, Ellie is to be handed over to me as soon as you guys can get her here. 2, Gavin is released so that when Ellie's kid is born, it can have a father.
Ellen had faked a pregnancy, and there was talk that she used this as a tool to motivate Gavin and Russell to kill Aaron.
When she first got locked up, she was trying to tell everybody she was pregnant. She was not pregnant.
She told you she was pregnant?
I've known for about 2 weeks now.
2 weeks? She told you? Okay. Did you tell Ellie you don't want to kill him?
I told her, I don't want to do this. I told her that I didn't want to kill him.
So when these kind of things happen, Gavin, there's usually something that clicks and you make a decision on what you're going to do.
The investigator starts establishing premeditation, which is required for a first-degree murder charge.
How long before you hit Dad with the bat has that conversation come up?
She's been talking about it for a long time. I tried to be civil with Aaron and stuff. I was like, should I offer to go and have a cup of coffee and discuss why he has beef with me?
So going back to you guys getting there around 2:30 in the morning, is it possible you got there earlier than 2:30?
I mean, we were at Union at about 1:30.
And did you guys have to wait around for a little while?
We did. Ellie was like, just wait till he falls asleep and come in.
And where did you grab the bat from? Where did you grab the bat from before you walked into the front room?
No, I wanted to keep the bat for myself.
Okay.
Ironically, the bat that Gavin wanted to keep for himself, the bat that Gavin used to beat Aaron to death, was the bat that Aaron had on hand for protection. At best, Gavin used the murder weapon that was most convenient. At worst, Gavin took pleasure in this irony, claiming an ultimate power by using Aaron's sense of safety and security as a weapon against him, and walking out the door with it. Perhaps Gavin desired the bat for himself as a trophy.
So now you're walking from Ellie's room with the bat, and the plan for you is to walk out the front door.
That's what I mean, Ellie wanted me to kill him, but I didn't want to. I was planning on just walking straight out the front door.
Did you play along with Ellie and say, okay, I'll kill him?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
But then he woke up.
Did you tell Ellie how you were going to kill him?
No.
Did she ever mention, hey, use the bat?
Well, she said that if I wanted to, I could, and I was like, it's not that hard to punch someone in the throat.
Here, Gavin displays an out-of-place, boastful sense of pride over holding violence-related knowledge. This is a strong indicator of aggressive tendencies. Family and numerous friends and acquaintances confirm that Gavin held a violent streak. another of Gavin's close old friends, shared the following.
We used to get together and like play football or different things like that with a bunch of guys we knew. And a couple different times he ended up punching somebody, or like I think he broke someone's nose at one point. And then a couple other times, yeah, sort of unprovoked, kind of fight somebody at our youth group. It was more of just a one or two thing, and then he would walk away. It's not like he was trying to kill somebody at that time, obviously.
An additional past friend described that Gavin displayed unusually aggressive behavior a week preceding the murder.
Yeah. So last time I had seen him, we were just hanging out, like smoked a little bit. He wanted to like wrestle me. Like he's like, I know. He's like, I'm a black belt. Like we should fight. He's never really wanted to fight. So I didn't know if maybe he was like trying to get prepared for, like this obviously is like afterthoughts. Like, oh, that's weird. Like he wasn't very good at it. I don't think he was really a black belt. And it was just like, what?
Caden, who had attended South Medford High School with Gavin, explained that everyone in the school knew that he was scary and seemed dangerous when he shared his friend's experience.
He threatened one of my best friends, where he had actually sent a picture of a revolver to him, making the threat that he was going to, harm him. And then when they took it to the school didn't do anything about it.
We've watched Gavin cry and state repeatedly that he did not want to kill Aaron. We've also heard friends and family share stories depicting that he was quick to rage, often searching for an outlet for his aggression, whether it existed in tackle football, playful wrestling, or defending his friends. It leads us to a question of whether Aaron was another one of Gavin's outlets.
So she hands you the bat in the bedroom and tells you to go take Dad out. Okay, what were her exact words?
She said go out in the front room, take him out, and text me and let me know when it's done. And to me, I was like, okay, so I guess she wants me to kill him, but I don't want to kill him.
So you kick the bin and the dog barks. Where's the dog at?
Sleeping on the couch with him.
How do you know the dog was on the couch with him?
Like, 'cause I was, like, when we were in the house, like, I heard, like, one of the reasons...
He's used the word like periodically throughout the interrogation, but here, Gavin uses it almost back to back. This is a notable deviation from baseline and a strong indicator of general stress, most likely nervousness in the context of the topic.
Before leaving, because we heard him say, Sadie, move, and I was like, oh, okay, because, like, he's probably disturbed a little bit.
Is it possible, Gavin, that you hit him while he was asleep?
I don't think so, no.
Is it possible, though?
It's possible he might have still been asleep.
This eliminates any possible self-defense theory his lawyers might have wanted to use at trial.
But I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black.
What makes you think that he woke up?
He was like, what the f***, who are you?
But is that after you hit him once or before?
That was before.
Okay.
Earlier in the interrogation, Gavin had clearly described that Aaron woke up and, in turn, Gavin acted on instinct. He's beginning to contradict himself, but it's not long before we hear the full truth.
Is it possible that he might not have said that and you just hit him while he was asleep on the couch?
I don't remember.
Are you 100% sure he said, who's that? Or could you just be telling me that, thinking that, trying to minimize this, making it look a little better? Because
I just hit him while he was asleep. And then
okay, so if you're going to tell the truth, let's tell the truth all the way, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Was he awake when you hit him?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't wanting to kill him. But then the dog started barking, and I knew where I was. I just snapped because I didn't want to have to deal with him. It was after, like, the second swing, he was like, what the f***? And then...
Was he ever able to get up off the couch, or did...
No.
And be honest with us. Don't try to minimize things. How many times do you think you hit him?
I think I hit him about 6 times.
6 times?
Yeah, 5 or 6 times.
And were all those hits, where did you swing and hit him at?
Like, his chest and his head.
Okay. Ultimately, did he stop talking, stop moving?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did you turn the light on?
Like, I stood there for a little bit. I don't know. It seemed like hours, and I was just like, what did I just do?
Okay.
Like, one time, we were at my mom's house. I told him to come inside. He wouldn't listen to me. So he went outside, and because my mom's in a wheelchair. Pushed my mom down the driveway, and my mom fell back and cracked her head open.
Oh my gosh.
I know this might be tough, Gavin, but it's important to know. Can you stand right there for me? Right there. Stand up for me. And tell me that first time you swung the bat, tell me exactly how you swung the bat the first time.
The investigator gets Gavin to reenact the actual murder, which helps both verify the confession and to show his actions match the evidence. This makes a false confession claim harder to get around.
His couch is like right here.
Okay.
His head's right here. I'm standing right here, a little bit at an angle. And I went over the shoulder the first time, and then I started going up above my head.
And the first time you swung it, it was over the shoulder? And all the rest of the times you hit him, did you come up over the top?
Yeah.
You work at Del Taco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you take some gloves from work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was wearing gloves, yeah.
Are they light blue gloves, latex
Yeah.
gloves? And where did you put those on before you went out in the front room?
I had those on the entire time because I didn't want to, I was really just planning on going in and out and trying to leave no fingerprints or anything, so.
And these are the clothes that you were wearing? This that you have on?
No.
Where are the clothes?
I went home and I washed them.
Okay.
Are they in the washer?
Yeah.
Is that over an almond?
No, that was over at Bobby's.
And I have a note here, but who's Bobby?
Bobby Jackson is my best friend, and I'm his best friend. Been that way since like 6th grade, and Gavin kind of ended up joining us in that.
Kyle shared that he, Bobby, and Gavin were close, but no one else who he interviewed mentioned that this trio existed. Gavin embodied multiple personas. He didn't belong to any one group, and those he regularly spent time with seemed unaware of others he regularly spent time with. Interestingly, Kyle and Bobby in one location and Jacob in another claimed that Gavin was living with them at the time of the murder.
We were close. He was actually living with me and another guy and his mother when this all happened.
Gavin's friend Christopher Snow had also reported that Gavin was his roommate at the time. Christopher spoke to the press the day after the murder, explaining he was shocked, disbelieving that Gavin and Ellen were at odds with her father. The person who disagreed most with their relationship, according to Christopher, was Ellen's mother.
Does anybody know that you did this besides you and Ellie and RJ? Did you tell anybody else?
No.
Gavin may not have told anyone that he followed through with Aaron's murder, but he certainly talked about wanting to kill him. No one we or the police spoke with commented that they'd suspected he would go through with it, but many commented that he'd spoken of it. In fact, one individual commented that Gavin regularly told others that he could get away with killing someone.
An example would be he would say something along the lines of, I'd be able to get away with killing, it'd be easy, I know all these things, I'll watch all these documentaries. Like it was just something normal to say. Everything in his life seemed like it was a game to him.
Interestingly, Gavin displays nonverbal behaviors which indicate feelings of insecurity and discomfort. For example, he hunches his shoulders and crosses his arms tightly over his chest, making himself smaller and more contained, essentially an upright, adapted version of the fetal position.
Before you leave the house, are you being 100% honest with me that Ellie was out in the car?
Because I'm a bit confused, because when did she come back in and get the dog?
She came back in after I hit her dad.
Note that Gavin commented, hit her dad, not killed her dad. This is distancing language, or language that places psychological space between the topic under discussion and the speaker. Either Gavin doesn't register the murder, or he cannot stand the thought that he killed someone.
Why do you think you hit him?
To me, in my eyes, I felt like he was an enemy. Like he was out to hurt me.
Okay.
So.
What do you think happens when you hit somebody in the head with an aluminum bat?
There's a lot of brain damage.
Do you think it could cause somebody to die?
Yeah.
This is to establish another element of first-degree murder, is that it must be committed with some sort of intent to kill the person. The murderer must therefore have attacked or harmed their victim with the purpose of ending their life.
Okay. Did you do anything to try to give him any kind of aid?
No.
And how does Ellie get in the house?
She just comes in through the front door.
Hold on. When she comes through the front door, what does she see?
She sees her dad laying on the couch.
What does she say?
Well, she didn't say anything.
Did it shock her? Was she upset?
Not really, no.
Did you tell her what you did?
No.
Was it obvious?
It was obvious, yeah.
Okay.
This is to show that Ellen knew this was going to happen and that she was a co-conspirator, so she can't later deny knowing Gavin was planning to kill him.
When Ellie comes in, is he making gurgling noises or has he stopped making those noises?
He was still gurgling.
Gavin's body language is an extreme show of emotional distress. More genuine than the adapted version we witnessed previously, he is sitting in an upright fetal position, holding his knees to his chest. This is blatantly self-pacifying, indicating Gavin is far more affected by this than his vocal tone and straightforwardness suggest.
So she comes in, gets the dog. Does she go outside or does she stay in the house with the dog?
She just goes outside. RJ and I, we opened the trunk and then we put him in there.
Okay, tell me about, let's back it up and walk through that slowly.
I'm sorry.
Individuals compress their lips under periods of great distress. Gavin's lips have disappeared.
And RJ came in to the front door and RJ saw it. What did RJ say to you?
He was like, "Oh God, that's gross." And then I was like, "Okay, you grab him, his feet, and then we'll get him out to the trunk." And then we kind of drug it through the yard, and then we just like lift him up into the trunk.
So, you're in the house. Do you guys go back into the house after?
This is to establish a possible burglary charge. It also shows the callousness and lack of remorse after the fact for the crime.
Do you remember getting any money in the house?
Oh yeah, she went and took some money from her dad's wallet. Yeah.
How much cash did she get?
She said it was like $40.
Okay. From his wallet?
Yeah.
So he obviously didn't have his wallet on him.
Yeah.
Ellen can argue that she planned this to protect her sisters, and she can argue that he abused her, but few words, if any, explain why she would possess any moral justification to steal from her recently murdered father.
What was he wearing on the couch when you turned the light on?
He was wearing a black Raider shirt and a pair of black shorts.
Okay. When did she first bring up that she wanted her dad dead?
Like after he slapped her. And
How long ago? How long ago was that?
Like, this was a week before she texted me about the...
This shows that this specific incident of abuse was not the motive for the murder, at least not for Ellen. A prosecutor might submit to a jury that the likely actual motive for the killing of her father was him not letting his minor daughter and Gavin date.
Okay. And then once, as that conversation developed, did you ever come to a what are we going to do with him afterwards?
I mean, RJ was like trying to tell me, I have a friend, we can go up, leave the car there, he can tear the car apart, that way there's no car left.
I'm very good at convincing people.
So when do you go to Bobby's house?
Bobby's, I stopped by, I just like swapped clothes and I left again, no one was awake.
So, and then you end up over on Almond Street. Okay.
Investigators later learned that Gavin had led them astray, hoping they would stop by Bobby's house so his friends would know that something had happened.
And run through us with what you were wearing at the time that you hit him with the bat.
I was wearing my gray hoodie.
Not that one?
It was a gray pullover hoodie.
Okay.
It wasn't this one, no.
Okay.
Like all my hoodies are
What was
gray.
on under the gray hoodie?
And then I had on, it was my Batman t-shirt, I think.
Okay.
And that I think I actually left at the house, but I don't think there was any blood or anything on that.
And what pants were you wearing?
Well, I'm still wearing the same pants. I didn't change my pants. I just changed my jacket.
So you were wearing those pants?
Yeah.
And what shoes were you wearing?
I was wearing my boots.
The ones you have on now?
Yeah.
Or the ones, I don't think you're wearing them now,
Well,
right?
they took them off, yeah.
Okay. What do you do when you get to the location where you guys dump Aaron?
We kind of sit there and we're like, nature. It was peaceful and it was relaxing.
Gavin discusses how it was peaceful and relaxing looking at the woods and lake while sitting in the car with Aaron's dead body in the trunk. This shows a serious lack of remorse.
When you get there, though, what do you guys do?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we kind of sat and we kind of enjoyed the view because it was nice out.
Gavin goes off on a tangent, displaying a symptom characteristic to his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder diagnosis, lack of focus.
And then what happened?
And then we're like, okay, let's get this done before anyone drives by or anything.
How did you get him out of the trunk? By himself or with the blanket?
I kind of just went up and grabbed him by underneath the shoulders and lifted him.
Okay.
So, and then RJ kind of like picked up his legs. It was the blanket pillow and all, and then we just like let it roll, and it kind of wrapped itself up. So when it was rolling down the hill, the tarp wrapped itself up around him. I kind of tried to wrap him up a little bit, like cover up his feet.
The investigators keep a cool head while Gavin describes throwing Aaron's body off the embankment, along with some trash.
Is there still any blood in the trunk?
I don't know. I think there's still some on the outside because he was kind of leaking everywhere.
Okay. And then where do you guys go from there?
And then we were like, okay, which way to Walmart? And that's when we went to Walmart.
Where does RJ stay?
He just stays outside and smokes.
And where did he get those cigarettes?
Those were her dad's.
Remember what kind of cigarettes they were?
They were Camel 99s.
Okay. Ultimately, you and Ellie go in, you buy some junk food. Did she buy a pregnancy test?
Yeah.
Then you guys come out of Walmart.
And we were going to SSI, like, Ellie and I went upstairs because she had to use the restroom. And she also was gonna check out the hair dye, so I gave her the hair dye, she went to the bathroom. She came back out, was like, this is the wrong stuff, we need to go return it. We went back to Walmart, and we got the refund of $9.77 was the refund. And then we go back out.
Picky about makeup and hair dye, sneaking out of a bedroom window to see a forbidden older boyfriend, and conspiracy to commit patricide. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong.
Gotcha. You need something, bathroom water or something like that?
Can I get some water, please?
Yeah. You want a soda or anything?
No, do you guys have Mountain Dew?
Yeah. Okay. You want to do?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I don't understand why you guys are being so nice to me. I mean, I think I just did something.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Gavin is offered a drink, and he states how nice the police are being to him, showing that the Reed tactic they have employed has worked well, and they're seen as allies to him. It proves difficult to determine whether Gavin is experiencing true remorse over what he's done, or regret over the repercussions, or both. Whatever the case, Gavin's emotionality indicates that he didn't go about this entirely in control and intelligently. Up to this point, we can reasonably speculate that Gavin displays aggressive tendencies, violent behavior, and impulsivity. There's more to this story, but we'll cover that later. Gavin had displayed concerning behavior throughout childhood into adulthood, so much so that he was considered a possible threat to others at South Medford High School.
People talk about schools having like a list of kids who are potential threats. I'd say he was like the poster child for that person at our school. It was like an understood thing, you know, about Gavin, that's kind of the person that he was. Kind of a scary person, not someone you would think to mess with.
Yeah, it just kind of gave me like an off vibe sometimes. You know, everyone jokes around like, okay, if we had a school shooter, it'd probably be him.
Anything concerning with Gavin?
Yes, we did a threat assessment, a threat to others assessment. I can't remember when. He grabbed a student's breasts and was inappropriate on a few occasions. We also, I believe, did a risk to self assessment on him at least once, like that he'd said he was going to kill himself.
Yeah, something split in his head, man. Something he cracked. Like I said, it's like she did help kill her dad, but like I swear to God, you know, she was crazy. From what I heard, you know, she did some crazy shit, but I don't think she would have killed her dad.
All right. How you doing?
I'm barely awake.
You are? I'll tell you, if I was at a police department, I would be wide awake.
Detective Smith is consistently direct with Ellen. She implies here that Ellen should be more alert, despite Ellen being sleep-deprived because of the circumstances. This seems rather counterintuitive, considering that Ellen is already displaying high levels of resistance, which interrogators typically counter with empathy and kindness.
We talk to everybody that is involved, and then... Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've been under the weather lately.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Ellen makes poor attempts at eliciting sympathy in whatever way she can throughout the interrogation, but the investigator pays little mind, often implying that Ellen is, for lack of a better word, dramatic. This is markedly histrionic behavior. Histrionic essentially means melodramatic. In the mental health world, histrionic behavior is heavily and unsurprisingly present in histrionic personality disorder. It can be a symptom of a variety of other disorders as well, but generally refers to maladaptive, attention-seeking, and exaggerated behavior.
And then we talk and try to like hammer out and figure out who's saying what's going on, and try to really get the real story from everybody, okay?
Of course.
Is it okay if I keep talking to you kind of about what we've learned?
Mhm.
Okay. And then if you feel like letting me know stuff, you can do that. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Okay. So, this morning when the police were called to your house, it was because your sisters actually saw you and Gavin and somebody else in there, a couple other people in there leaving. Then they saw a lot of blood in the house, okay? So then what they did was call Michelle. You know Michelle?
No, I don't know Michelle.
I'm pretty sure that's her name. Your dad's girlfriend who was over at the house last night?
Oh, Mickey.
Mickey! Thank you.
Her name's Mickey.
Okay. Thanks for helping me out. They called Mickey and then ran to your mom's house, and so everybody is really concerned and worried about you and your dad, because we actually don't know where your dad is right now.
That's really frustrating. That's really disturbing to hear.
I agree.
Consistent with previous displays, this behavior is more than awkward. It's uncomfortable, what some might call cringy to watch. We can tell she's attempting to muster up and replicate something resembling shock, panic, or concern, but she falls considerably short of the mark. Nonverbal experts might determine she is being disingenuous from reading her robotic arm movements, chiral facial expression, or incongruent verbal and nonverbal communication. Even her word choice comes off as suspicious. Imagine being detained, sitting across the table from an investigator in an interrogation room, and learning that your father is missing and there is blood everywhere in your living room. Would your response be a robotic? That is very disturbing to hear. This is more so an explanation of an emotion, not an expression, which is why we easily sense that something is off. The investigator directly challenges Ellen with step 1 of the Reed interrogation technique discussed earlier, positive confrontation. She lays all the evidence law enforcement has indicating Ellen's involvement up to this point. We also can tell from this moment and from points earlier in the interrogation that Detective Smith is attempting to set up a theme that involves Ellen's sisters. Similar to Gavin's moral justification for committing the crime, Ellen's might be that she was trying to protect her 2 younger sisters.
I absolutely agree, and your sisters are a little bit disturbed by that as well. Because they're scared that they saw you leaving, they're scared there's blood in your house, and they're scared that nobody knows where your dad is. So they're awfully little to have those kinds of worries.
Maybe he was looking for me.
So where did all the blood come from in your house?
I don't know.
Okay. Mickey knows that you were there, Sierra was there, Olivia was there, your dad was there. So it would be nice if we could get some of this figured out. And like I said,
Detective Smith makes a skillful confrontation about figuring out what's going on, without making a direct contradiction to Ellen, who begins to gesture and move without purpose. For instance, she momentarily glances at her nails here. These meaningless gestures and movements grow to be progressively more pronounced. Meaningless movement, otherwise known as fidgeting, is a widely known nonverbal indicator of nervousness. Pay attention to the topic of conversation during times when Ellen fidgets the most.
So, somebody else is talking to Gavin, somebody else is talking to Mike. Oh, got a little owie there?
That's it.
Okay. So, it would be nice if we could get on the same page now, okay?
Excuse me, what's your name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, I'm barely awake right now, and I barely have any recollection of what happened yesterday or within the 24 hours.
Do you need coffee?
I hate coffee.
Okay.
I try to stay away from caffeine and other chemicals.
And you don't eat meat. Is there anything we can get you, like, from a fast food restaurant that would...
No, thank you.
Okay.
In all honesty, I don't feel like I deserve that.
You don't deserve food? Why?
Finally, Ellen expresses something resembling guilt. At least that is what it seemed like before she said,
I don't feel like I deserve any of my basic human rights.
Oh.
Especially when it comes to my father.
Okay, help me understand that.
They've shamed me for the way that I eat for years.
Okay. Like in what way?
Just shaming me.
Well, you don't eat meat. Do they comment about that?
My dad ridicules me for that.
Okay. Well, that doesn't have anything to do with you being hungry and us wanting to go out and grab you something if you want something.
No, thank you.
Okay.
But thank you for the offer.
Well, you bet. Yeah.
Some may feel bad for Ellen, but keep in mind what she was recently part of. It could be that her father ridiculing her over food was only one piece to the puzzle that set her off. But fixating on this detail in this moment, going so far as to share it with Detective Smith, indicates egocentrism, which involves interpreting life as though it exclusively revolves around the self, and maladaptive self-pity. There could be a persecution complex here. If Ellen holds a persecution complex, she possesses a persistent belief that others have malintent toward her. It's hard to determine whether there's mental illness involved at this point. She could be playing the sympathy card.
Tell me about Gavin being at the house this morning.
He was walking with me everywhere, so if we went there, then he was there.
Okay. And what were you guys doing there?
Probably, I don't know. I'm
I know.
half asleep.
Again, I am absolutely not trying to sound rude, but some things I just kind of have to lay out, okay?
I understand.
Are you an AP student?
Yes.
You take AP classes?
Mm-hmm.
Taking AP classes, you've got to work really hard in those classes, and I know that. Okay, so I know there were times you were really super tired and you were still studying. So for you to sit here and tell me how tired you are and you can't remember, I feel like maybe that's just an excuse because you don't want to talk about something that's super hard to talk about.
Detective Smith is narrowing the ability for Ellen to be evasive.
We are all trying to piece together what happened because we're very worried about your dad. And I get that it doesn't sound like to you he was the best dad.
Of course I'm going to be worried about him. He might have abused me for most of my life, but he's still my father.
Ellen uses every opportunity to sneak in a comment about how her father was abusive. Again, we re-arrive at the idea that Ellen is not fully aware or functional during this interrogation, only because she is so poorly lying and concealing her negative feelings toward her father, which would, as Ellen might logically reason, add to motive. She's reportedly intellectually gifted. It raises a question as to whether Ellen is attempting to pull off shock or whether she's a 15-year-old struggling to comprehend how to get out of a bad situation.
So one of the things that has also happened is South Medford High School has a school resource officer, and apparently you're still a student there. And you had like a band thing this weekend, and your dad came and picked you up from the school at like 3 a.m?
Ellen coughs nearly every time she takes a drink and looks up to Detective Smith to see her reaction. This is histrionic, dramatic, and pity-seeking behavior. But it also occurs each time the conversation becomes more heated. Note that Detective Smith is quite direct in her confrontation in this moment.
Are you going to choke on your water? It worries me.
My throat's burning right now.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to drink the water, but if it's going to hurt, maybe give it a little break. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Anyway, have you met Officer Jackson? He's a school resource officer at South?
No.
Okay.
I haven't.
So Officer Jackson says you are a current student there. Why would Officer Jackson say that?
I don't know.
I think because you're a current student there and you're kind of pulling my leg a little bit.
No.
And that you're in band.
I do know about a lot of underage people having marijuana, though.
Okay. Well, that's probably a dime a dozen these days.
Ellen makes an additional attempt to divert attention away from her wrongdoing onto someone else's wrongdoing. This is otherwise known as deflection, and it's Ellen's favorite type of defense mechanism.
I've had temporary amnesia in the past. There was a couple of instances where I have passed out and lost my vision and my memory.
Okay.
And it was when I had a throat stone.
Do you have a throat stone right now?
No. That was a while ago.
Okay. So when you have this temporary amnesia, who takes you to the doctor?
I don't really talk to anybody or reach out.
You would certainly tell your mom or your dad if you have temporary amnesia.
I feel like I can't really go to them for anything. I feel like I'm a bother.
Where's your dad?
I don't know.
If you needed to get a hold of your dad right this second, what would you do?
No, call a cell phone.
what's his career, or what does he know how to do?
Sometimes he does, like, yard work or something.
What was the last job he did?
Like I said, a roofing job or something.
Oh, the
Something on
roofing job?
roof.
You said for a neighbor?
Yeah,
Okay. Did he get paid for that?
I believe so.
How much money did he get for that?
I don't know, Stephanie.
Okay. Okay. You know, I'm just trying to figure out what happened. That's all.
I'm trying to piece together everything right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, so far you've told me you're 18 and your name is Rain. And I'm here to tell you, you're 15 and your name is Ellie. Okay, maybe you go by Rain. Do you go by Rain?
Yes,
Okay.
Rain and Rose.
So your friend would know you as that. Like Russell goes by Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Note that while Ellen has allowed Detective Smith to state that her name is Ellie and she's 15, Ellen has not accepted blame or outright acknowledged that she was lying. Ellen's lies surrounding her identity could indicate that dissociation is present. Ellen would be in a state of dissociation in this moment if she's protecting herself by psychologically separating herself from something, in this case, her identity. Separating oneself from one's identity is a form of dissociation termed depersonalization. For example, she wants to be someone else who did not conspire to kill her father and potentially go through traumatic abuse.
Rose. They call me Rose. I'm so out of it right now. I haven't taken any drugs.
Okay.
You can test me for anything you'd like.
Okay.
Rumor was that Ellen began to dabble with THC and nicotine once she reached high school, following the occurrence of a specific taboo incident.
Literally, her and some kid like did it on the bus, got like in trouble for it. After that, she like started like smoking and like doing bad things.
Based on accounts of others, evidence is mounting that Ellen's problem behavior emerged around 14 or 15. 50% of all mental illnesses begin by the age of 14.
I've told you, Sierra saw you at the house with Gavin this morning. Olivia saw you at the house this morning with Gavin and a couple other people. Sparklebeak is somewhere I don't know, that you took Sparklebeak this morning from your sister. So, I mean, that's just like what I'm coming up with off the top of my head as things that I have told you that should be perking you up and waking you up and like, oh my goodness, I'm sitting at the police department. I've just heard all of these facts. I've talked to a lot of people about difficult stuff, and the things you're doing right now are not unusual for people to do when they don't want to talk about something, or it's hard for them to talk about something. Okay, I don't want you to...
this is phlegm.
Oh, it's phlegm. Okay. I don't want to take your water away, because if you want it, you need it.
Mm-hmm.
But you also keep worrying me about every time you drink it.
It's all back in my throat now.
Okay, you're good then? Okay. All right. What was Gavin doing at your house?
Walking around.
Okay. Doing what, though?
Walking around.
So what was Gavin doing in there then?
If he was there, then and my dad let him in, I wouldn't have let him in without talking to my dad.
Well, you were there too, because you were packing up.
Packing up?
Yeah. We need to get past this tough stuff to talk about.
In reference to tough stuff to talk about, this is a passive confrontation made in an effort to appear sympathetic and understanding.
Saying I don't remember, saying I'm tired, saying any of that is a cop-out.
So the truth is a cop-out.
So what's the truth?
I don't remember. I'm so out of it.
What do you think Gavin and Mike are saying?
I don't know.
You want to see magic trick? Hocus pocus.
Okay.
I have no idea.
This is an obvious ploy to play the prisoner's dilemma. Law enforcement regularly utilizes the prisoner's dilemma to coerce drug dealers into ratting each other out. Technically, it occurs when two parties each make self-beneficial decisions, which result in a less than ideal outcome for both.
Do you think they're being honest?
Yeah, I know them to be honest people. I know that Gavin knows the police force here.
Who's Mike?
One of Gavin's and mine friends.
Okay.
More Gavin's, but
Detective Smith has made a sliver of progress. She's gotten a small foot in the door. The foot in the door technique is used to counter resistance in interrogations. Ellen has acknowledged that the two other detained individuals are in fact Gavin and Russell, and that she does in fact know who they are. This may seem like a small victory, but by way of the foot in the door technique, Detective Smith has greatly increased the chances of Ellen providing more important information.
And that was actually the older boyfriend.
We were friends with benefits, but never really a relationship.
Okay. And did your dad approve of that relationship?
I didn't really tell him about it, but he saw us holding hands and he freaked out.
Mm-hmm. It's just dawning on me, and I'm going to point this out to you, that you have a pretty good memory of all of that stuff, but you can't tell me what happened
Of my past?
10 hours ago, not even 10 hours ago.
My past is ingrained in me.
Okay.
Because of how much pain it's brought me.
Uh-huh. You know what happened 7 hours ago.
Do I?
Yeah. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen a parent act the way your mom was acting this morning. She was literally on the ground, sobbing. On her knees with her head buried into the ground, sobbing. She's worried about you. She's worried about Aaron.
I'm worried about my dad, too. From what you've said, there's blood at the house and he's gone?
Yes. I feel like that probably doesn't come as a complete shock to you.
I'm very good at hiding my emotions. I have to be strong for my little sisters.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot at this point you owe your little sisters. What if your dad can still be helped?
Then let's find him.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Smith is gauging Ellen's response.
Were you at a band thing up in Salem?
PCI.
What's that?
Pacific Coast Invitational.
What instrument do you play?
It's like the front percussion. I don't even know the name of the instrument I play.
Do you play cymbals?
No.
Do you play a triangle?
No.
Detective Smith is warming Ellen up, encouraging her to talk about something she knows Ellen enjoys, music. Most of those we spoke with who knew Ellen knew her through band.
She was just kind of, an average band student. I think she played the clarinet and bass clarinet. She did band camp, so she did marching band. I would say that's like where the majority of her friends were kind of located. She was one of the kids who hung out, in the area during lunch and stuff. So she was, just a regular band kid.
Are you going to take a little sleep?
I'm really tired.
Okay. All right.
Ellen puts her head down as if to go to sleep, passively ending the conversation at this point. A very common tactic employed when a suspect is not getting the information they want from the investigators. Since she cannot craft her story to fit the facts, she attempts to stop talking.
Excuse me? Can I get some nausea medication?
Some nausea medication? There's a garbage can right there, okay?
No.
I'm going to see. I know we have Tylenol, Advil.
Ellen then asks for a place to lay down. Detective Smith leaves. Afterwards, Ellen continues picking at her skin and her nose, and appears to place her fingers in her mouth. Consider the meaning behind Ellen's non-purposeful gestures in these moments. Although Ellen appears guiltless at times, her physical ailments may be legitimate somatic manifestations of her guilty conscience.
Okay. I found blankets. Is that fine?
She knocks on the door. An officer comes by and Ellen asks for the restroom.
I'll have to get a few minutes, please. 1 second, okay? All right.
The officer then leaves. She's avoiding her surroundings any way she can. Sleep, leaving the room asking for nausea meds, which will likely make her tired and sleep. This is a common avoidance triad often used by suspects.
Hi. Do you need to use the restroom? Yes. Okay, come on.
Ellen is getting bored. This is a common tactic we see, where a suspect is left alone in an interrogation room and they become bored and anxious. The goal is to convince them that talking will get them out of there sooner. leading to a sort of reprieve, both physical and psychological. Detective Smith returns. She brings paper and crayons. While this is seemingly infantile for a 15-year-old girl of allegedly sound mind, it could be her drawings will be examined for indicators of evidence, state of mind, or other information. They may also serve to relax her and ease her anxiety, making her somewhat more likely to talk, though ultimately still be bored with such simplistic items when questioning resumes.
Hi. A mermaid?
Not very well.
Well, I know what it is. And a pretty tree. Okay.
Detective Smith reminds Ellen of her rights. This is common whenever there's been a break in questioning.
So I know Gavin was at the place at your house this morning. I know your dad saw him. I know Mike was standing outside of your house. I know you guys went down to Gavin's house on Almond. I know that you moved the car around. Okay? I want you to know that we know what's going on. And the bottom line in all of this is, why did all of this happen today?
She's searching for corroboration.
Why did all... I'm sorry, can I get some more water?
Yeah, you can. But you haven't been doing this stuff with your throat since I've left. I mean, playtime's a little bit over. So why did this happen today?
In response to Detective Smith's question about why did this happen today,
Why today?
Ellen asks if she means her plans to run away.
Why did I try to run away?
But Detective Smith quickly closes down this denial by stating,
You know that's not what I'm talking about.
this is an indirect confrontation, purposefully left vague to encourage the suspect to speak of the crime in their own words.
Why was Gavin at your house? Why was Mike standing outside your house, or Russell, or whatever you call him? Why did you guys go down there? Why did you guys end up out on Highway 140? Well, I actually know the answer to that. We're not playing anymore. We have the facts.
Detective Smith insists that they have the facts. They have stories and statements, but they don't have facts. This is common misdirection, and at this point the questioning will get more direct and targeted. Detective Smith is done playing games, and Ellen knows it.
Can we start from the beginning of your side now? We have other sides. What I don't have is your side, because you've been messing with me all morning. Can we have your side?
Yes.
Tell me your side.
Where should I start?
Have you been taking clothes out of your house?
Yes.
Okay. Start there.
Well, my situation with my father abusing me had gotten worse. So I was looking for a way out. So...
Alright, thanks guys for watching. I'm done for today. Have to go to bed. Have to go early morning tomorrow. So yeah, if you like what you see, feel free to follow. I'm gonna do Miles' character, and it's gonna be these two interacting. So yeah, if you want to see the finished artwork or see me finish it and work on it, feel free to follow me. Links in my bio. All at Giovanni Hall Art, all one word, on all major platforms: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Feel free to follow me there.